Disney proudly presents.
Soarin Across America announced for Walt Disney World and Disney California Adventure. Dates announced for the 2026 EPCOT International Festival of the Arts. The parent of the child who fell overboard on the Disney Dream has been cleared of all charges, and more in this episode of the Diz Unlimited podcast. Hello, everybody. I am Rhino, the executive producer here at the Diz, and today I don't really have any of our normal members of the podcast here with me. In fact, we have a very, very special guest. They've become sort of an internet sensation of late. They are a very famous jack-o'-lantern. Excuse me, I'm misintroducing them. We have the one and only Louis.
I am not a jack-o'-lantern. My name is Louis.
Okay, that's the dumb thing I was trying to do before we got started. That's why we got a few minutes late. I couldn't get the sound to go any higher for his introduction. And also, Louis has more phrases, and he says, hello, hello, hello. And I wanted him to say that. But if you're not familiar, Louis became like an internet sensation, I want to say like 2 years ago, because he was this like kind of sassy. He's given me a little bit of gay vibes, and that's all right. We love him. I don't mean to speak on your behalf, Louis. I apologize, but he's become sort of a mascot for us in the studio. He stays out here all year long. We'll pin a little Santa hat on for the holidays and stuff like that. But I've become a big fan of Louis, and I feel like because Hannah isn't here, she'd be all right with him subbing for her today. But yeah, it is just me on today's episode. I know that won't make for a fairly lively discussion, but if you are watching this live as it happens on YouTube, hopefully we'll have our back and forth here. If you're listening to this later, wherever you are, well, I apologize. You have a really annoying voice to listen to for the next however long it takes to get through this. But I guess it's just really going to be the news portion of this Disney news and discussion podcast here. But Chloe is on vacation. Teresa has not been feeling well. And again, Teresa's full-time job is she manages our welcome center. So if you're ever going on a Disney cruise or really any cruise leaving out of Port Canaveral, it is located just right outside of that port, and you're always welcome to pop in and say hello. I believe she's there whenever specifically a Disney cruise ship is in port, and she loves the company over there. And Hannah, God save her little broken body. Hannah, unfortunately, Hannah's got some issues. Yeah, we love her, we wish her well, and all of that. And it's me. It's just me. Hannah, unfortunately, has had that little bit of a bad luck, and I do feel bad for her. It's been a tough year for a lot of people, but we keep our spirits and our heads held high. Right, Louis? Exactly. So before we get started on the episode today, I want to remind everybody that this and everything that we do here is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. They are experts at helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. When you book with them, it costs you nothing extra on your trip. You help support the channel, the podcasts, the YouTube channels, all of that content, the website. And when like I said, it costs you nothing extra. Head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. You can get yourself a free, no obligation quote today. I just drank one of these Alanis, which is an alternative to Celsius. Hannah turned me on to it. This one's a witch's brew flavor, and it tastes straight up just like that trick-or-treating, the lollipop you'd get that was like the green lollipop with the caramel on top of it. And that on top of trying to do this Louis joke, I am riding high right now, so I apologize if I'm a little jittery, but I do appreciate all of you being here. This podcast is also brought to you by our Patreon supporters. We could not do this without you. And yes, we will be doing a live Patreon post-show following this broadcast as well. If you want to learn more about how you can join in on that, you can head over to patreon.com/disunlimited. It's open to our $5 and up tier. And of course, that whenever you sign up for that, you also get access to all the shows that we've done before. So you could do it for like a month and just check it out and then cancel it if you want and then come back later. The burn and churn, or I forget what they refer to it on Netflix and Disney, but it's like sort of that thing you can come and go and get, I like to do a thing where I wait for a bunch of content and then I'll binge all that content. I say that, and then I never end up canceling any of my subscriptions. But again, patreon.com/DizUnlimited. If you missed out on that, we also do the audio podcast that's uploaded right afterwards, so you can listen to it, you can watch it. It's available pretty much forever after it happens. Much like this show. I'm sorry, I didn't put there's something going on with one of the monitors in here. I think there's like a really long cord that might have gotten run over. And so I need to buy another like incredibly long HDMI cable. So I don't have my normal little teleprompter that if you want a fun little behind the scenes information, all of the television, almost all of the monitors and TVs that I have set up throughout the studio in here, they are all former Disney Cruise Line televisions, and I found them for like $7, and I was like, well, I can't beat that. These are good for something. So, if you're wondering why we're doing this on a Wednesday, I'm apparently Venom today, why I'm doing this on a Wednesday and not Tuesday is, well, I was at home over the weekend trying to soak in some of the lovely New England foliage, and my grandfather is officially 92 years old. If he stays with us 2 more weeks, he will officially have become the oldest living member of his family. I mean, the rest of the family has passed away. Well, I'm in the family and I'm still with us, but you know what I mean, in his generation of the family. And it is so ironic because my grandfather really was like kind of the runt of the litter and is so accident prone. But I love my grandfather so much, my grandparents so much. It takes a village, and it was my mom was a single mom, and I used to get off the bus every day at my grandparents' house, and I used to read Goosebumps books to my grandmother, and my grandfather, I would go to work with my grandfather a lot at Edaville Railroad, so I kind of grew up on that railroad, and, I feel like I got the best of all of them, and I had a childhood like out of an Amblin Entertainment movie, and who could ask for anything better than that? And I love them dearly, and I got to spend some time with them. Unfortunately, there was a mess at Boston Logan Airport on Monday, and so my flight kept getting delayed. But the problem with that is, if my family lives an hour from Logan, it was like they had to leave, and I couldn't go home yet. I couldn't go with them, and like public transportation ends at a certain time. But then on top of that, it would have cost like $400 for a hotel. So it was this whole, like, we were playing chicken with the airport, basically, and it ended up with me flying out of Providence, Rhode Island's airport on Tuesday morning. And you know what was great about that? Sometimes we have to change on the fly, and that can be stressful and, a little anxiety-inducing. But sometimes some things are meant to be, because when I got to go out of Providence, they sell Dell's lemonades. And if you're from that area of New England, or you've ever, like, traveled to, like, the Rhode Island area, you know that Dell's is like a staple of that area. And oh my God, I haven't had one of those in years. And it wasn't exactly the same as buying it straight from like the Dell's truck or the carts or anything like that, because usually there's like little pieces of chopped up lemon in it. But my God, it was delicious. And I was like, I'm thriving here. And I got to have a lovely conversation with somebody who watches or listens to the podcast, has listened to it for years and years and years. Shout out to Nicole. She's also one of our Patreon supporters. And I was like, I wouldn't have been able to have that if I hadn't been on that flight at that time. And so sometimes you kind of feel like all those dominoes end up falling for a reason. And in the moment when we're stressed out and feeling like that, it might not feel like that, and it can feel awful. And I'm not saying it always works out that way, but I try to look for those situations in life. And I feel like there's it's sort of that, not glass is half full, not grass is always greener, but and I don't want to say the silver lining either, but it is sort of, I mean, it kind of is like that. It's the positive that comes from the negative, and it's like the little tree that grows in Wall-E, right? Like the little tree out of the garbage. And that's how I feel like sometimes. So it was really cool. But, so I'm really happy. It was beautiful up there. I was itching for some fall. It's one of those where I'm like, oh, some orange and red leaves would really cure me right now. But, I appreciate all of you for being here, who's able to be here on a Wednesday, or who's listening, or deals with the sort of craziness that sort of comes of that. And, I like to do the live show because it keeps the chat open on YouTube for our group that goes in there. And, I know it doesn't affect a lot of you in a certain ways, because we do have a lot of listeners out there. Shout out to all of you for getting this a little bit later and being patient about that. But, I like the community that how you all kind of come together and be in here, and I don't want to let you all down in terms of that stuff. I like for all of you to have something to look forward to, in that way. You could not even listen to me. You could have me on mute, and you just look forward to chatting in the chat. That's all I'm saying. Chat in the chat, baby. All right. I'm rambling here. I'll save some of that for the later part in the show. Basically, the long and short of it is, thank you very much for being here, and I appreciate all of you. We're gonna get to it, but I'm gonna warn you all before we get started here today. It's going to be very EPCOT heavy, okay? There was a bunch of updates all happening at EPCOT. I am getting a phone call right now. I apologize. I've just got buzzes everywhere. Also, I believe there was a couple more news stories that had come out right before I got started. So please, if you are watching this in the chat, just remind me to go back to that too. I'm pulling that up really quick here. This is the hard part when you don't have someone to fill the air for you. But I could just tell you right now, one of the things that I'm most excited about that was announced first thing this morning, I think, was that this year at Jollywood Nights, they give us the whole list of characters that are coming, but a big one is we're going to get Chewie in his Life Day outfit. Now, they didn't really share any photos, but they showed him grabbing his like red Mormon robes or whatever they were. They're not, I don't mean to make fun of Mormons or anything like that. It was the first thing that popped in my head. And he's got like a little glowing orb and stuff. And I think that's so cool because, we've been begging for the last couple of years since they've started doing Jollywood Nights to really do something a little special in the back of our Galaxy's Edge. And I know that at Disneyland, they do stuff to celebrate Life Day, as it's called in the Star Wars universe. But I'm so excited for this. I can't wait to have a little bit of extra. If you don't even know what I'm talking about, it's from the Star Wars Christmas special. It's like a deep cut. I've actually never seen that. I need to add it to my movie list for this year. But we do have some other characters we can learn about as well. I like how I just told you to buckle up and it was going to be EPCOT and I started at Hollywood Studios. But that's me. That's me. I'm the guy who turns the wheel really quickly while you're driving. You just got to have that seatbelt on. Now, here's the complete list of characters that we at least know about so far. At Echo Lake, you're going to find Phineas and Ferb, Max Goof as Powerline, Chip and Dale as the Rescue Rangers, Santa Stitch, Baloo, and King Louie. And then over at Pixar Plaza, we've got Mike Wazowski, Edna Mode, Frozone, and Joy. And then at Rock and Roller Coaster, we're going to have Jose and Panchito. And then Miguel, who is new this year. And then in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, we're also going to have the Mandalorian and Grogu, as well as Chewbacca celebrating his Life Day. In Toy Story Land, we get Lotso and Partysaurus Rex, which is also new. I feel like they got that outfit for the Typhoon Lagoon party, and they're like, we're going to get our money's worth out of it. I think that's incredible. Walt Disney Presents in that theater over there. We're going to find Santa Duffy. And Commissary Lane, you'll have Donald and Daisy. Over at Grand Avenue, you've got Goofy and Pluto. They put the dogs over there. Bing Bong is over there. And then at Red Carpet Dreams, you got Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Again, that is for Disney's Jollywood Nights at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and those tickets range in price from $169 to $199. The November 8th date is sold out. I think that's the first one we're going to. We're going to go to 2 days, so if you see us, say hey. But there's the 15th, 17th, 22nd, 24th, and 29th in November, and then they still have tickets to the in December to the 1st, 6th, 10th, 13th, 17th, 20th, and 22nd. If you're interested what that's like, there is a video from our 2024 experience on this YouTube channel. If you're listening to this, you can head over to the Diz Unlimited YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/@DizUnlimited. And it'll give you a little bit of an insight into everything that we experienced over there. But I really do enjoy this event. I'm fingers crossed hoping for some like cooler weather. The 10-day forecast came out today for Halloween, which is next Friday. And it's a high of 75 and a low of like 58. And I don't know. I feel like the universe was like, we need to give this little baby a little treat this year. He's had it. He's been through it. So I'm like holding out hope that stays through. Has no rain in the forecast or anything. I don't want to jinx it, but I need it. I'm very, very excited for that. And I am excited to like fully commit into this holiday season this year. I don't mean to get super personal, but as you all know, if you've listened for a while, my father passed away early this year. And when I grew up as a kid, we'd go to spend Christmas Eve with my father and then go home that night because obviously we need to be in our beds for Santa. And then it was like Christmas was at my mom's side of the family. And so, I'm getting a little, I'm worried. Not I'm worried. I know it's going to be a sad year for me, but I feel like it's like, what's the musical? Is it Maude with Angela Lansbury where she's just like, haul out the holly, put up the tree before I... That's my theme this year is we need a little Christmas. Because I right now, the sad realization I had while I was at home, or that I've been having recently, is I think I'm now on the cusp of the longest I've never spoken to my father in my life. So I'm starting to feel that little itch in the back of my heart and head, and so and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who go through who this time of year can be really hard, really sad, and so things like this, I know it's cheesy and I know it's capitalism at its heart, but I am really looking forward to these sort of events that it's just a sort of like a dopamine hit, hopefully, that it's just going to be like a little bit happier, a little bit more, you feel that sort of connection with other people in the holidays, and or at the holiday. Like I think that is the greatest thing that comes from being a part of this podcast, is being able to meet people out there who listen or watch the show, but hearing your stories and your experiences, and and seeing your kindness and stuff like that, and so I'm really looking forward to this, this season, and I'm going to open it up with both, embrace myself for both the happy, the sad, and everything in between, right? And so hopefully we can do all that together, and we can share the experiences as we go. So that is something to really, I think, look forward to. I think I am looking forward to Jollywood Nights more than the Christmas party. I know. I think it's because I like the idea. I love the idea of Jollywood Nights being this thing that you get a little more classed up for. That's why my fingers are crossed that it's under 80 degrees, because it's really hard to do that in that humidity. And if you remember that first year we went, my God, it rained so bad at the end of the night. My light up shoes didn't work. But I just, I don't have kids, obviously. No, obviously. I got my 2 corgis, but I feel like it's just that event for me personally. There's a lot to do if you're an older. Watch yourself. If you are maybe an adult without children or stuff, but not to say that it undercuts any of the kids' experience either, because there's like that Nightmare Before Christmas sing-along thing that is incredible. There's the Muppets stage show. There's a lot of the character meet and greets. There's a lot of really fun things to do at this event. But I do like that I could get real fancy and have like a martini or something like that. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really looking forward to that. I am looking forward to the Christmas party too. I ordered myself a Mickey Mouse flannel, a cute little Mickey Mouse flannel. I've got an outfit coming together. I know the crossover between Halloween and Christmas is giving me whiplash right now. Okay, let me move on now. Let me just double check real quick that there wasn't something else. I'll do that at the end. That there wasn't something else that I was missing that came out this morning. So let's just go through the news I had before that, and then I will double check before we go, just in case. That's the benefit of doing it on a Wednesday. I feel like Disney trolls us sometimes, and they always have like these news announcements like. They're always like, okay, we're going to schedule them for Tuesday at 2 p.m. or something like that. But so first up, you heard me say it in the opening, Soarin Across America. It's Soarin'. Well, how does Sam Eagle word it in the now defunct Muppets attraction? It's like, it's a glorious ode to all nations, but mostly America. It's a glorious soaring, but mostly over America. So Soarin' at both EPCOT and Disney California Adventure is going to transform into Soarin' Across America in summer 2026 in celebration of America turning 250 years old. Guests will experience an all-new Soarin' that will take them from sea to shining sea across America. Almost as exciting as this announcement itself is Patrick Warburton reprising his role as Soarin's chief flight attendant to deliver the news. While we don't know exactly where in America we're going to be soaring to, Patrick promises it'll be a celebration fit for America's semi-quincentennial. What a word. The Disney Parks blog shared a look at Walt Disney Imagineering capturing footage for the new film. Disney also shared that Soarin' Across America will highlight the country's natural beauty and iconic cityscapes. While there have been multiple versions of Soarin' in the past, this will be an all-new, immersive film and the first time Soarin' has traveled across the United States. Soarin' over California originally premiered in 2001 at Disney's California Adventure and was brought to EPCOT in 2005 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Disneyland. The EPCOT attraction then changed to Soarin' Around the World in 2021, for Disney World's 50th anniversary, and the updated film eventually made its way to DCA. Additionally, the screens and film technology have been updated at both parks since the attraction opened. It does often seem like guests prefer that original Soarin' over California version of the attraction, as it's been brought back a lot at California Adventure, and I know it's come back at EPCOT for a seasonal run as well. Let me see. While the iconic soundtrack is similar for both versions of the attraction, there is something sentimental about traveling through Yosemite National Park, the Golden Gate Bridge, and Napa Valley in the original films. I am going to, if I were to put money on this and see where they were going, I'm assuming we're going to see like Mount Rushmore. It'll be interesting to see if we see, in the original version, we like ended in the theme parks. I think we still ended in the theme parks in the current version, but if we could get both Disneyland and Walt Disney World in it, I think that would be a lot of fun. Or whichever one you're at, you should be going to the other park, because it's like, I get it that it's like, oh look, we've made it back to the park, but I don't know. I kind of like the idea. I feel like this is a nice something. I don't know, something fun to do in the celebration of that. I'm curious to see if they'll do something with the fireworks show, because Walt Disney World specifically is very famous for their 4th of July fireworks, and it would be interesting to see if maybe they do something special for the 250th for that as well. But only time will tell, and I'm curious to see how long this one holds around, if this will stay for a while, where else it goes. I'm saying bring me through Kentucky. Let me see those bourbon. Let me see the bourbon barrels everywhere. Or I don't know. Now I'm put on the spot, and I'm like, national parks, but they already said Yosemite. I'd love to see, like, could we soar through the redwoods somehow? Like we're on the speeder bikes in Return of the Jedi. And I would love to see, like, it says cityscape, so I'm assuming we're going to see places like Los Angeles and New York, and the major cities. The Statue of Liberty, I'm sure she's got to make an appearance in there. So we'll see. And that then brings up, what's everything going to smell like? I guess we'll find out. Well, now, like I said, more Epcot stories, so hang on to your 3D glasses, or better yet, just take them and throw them in the garbage, because Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, boom. Nope, that was the poster for Soarin' Over America. There we go. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, located in the France Pavilion at Epcot, is getting a makeover. The attraction will be down for refurbishment from November 10th through November 13th, 2025, as it goes from a 3D show down to 2D, and my motion sickness truly thanks you, Disney. The purpose of this change is to improve the ride's visuals and overall guest experience. The updates are designed to make the animated world of Paris, seen from a rat's eye view, appear even sharper and more vibrant with more precise 2D projections. The changes will also extend beyond the show scenes, with new props and lighting elements being added to both the queue and the attraction itself over the coming months. Now, I don't really feel like there's a point to add more to the story, like I just said, other than what it is. It's going from 3D to 2D with a little bit of extra stuff. People who don't like 3D, I'm sure are going to be happy to see it go. Beyond the motion sickness aspect of it, because not everybody gets motion sickness, I do feel like it's going to really clear up the visual aspect of that. It's interesting to see how many rides lately are kind of getting that 3D to 2D transformation, because I know that happened. That happened at Universal Hollywood. I think their ride, their Forbidden Journey, their castle ride, used to be 3D and then changed to 2D. I could be wrong. And I feel like this happened to another ride. But sometimes I'm like, I get the aspect of it, but I don't need it. I don't know that it really changes anything on the ride for me, other than I'd be able to see it more, because I feel like there's that scene where you're like in the kitchen and the broom sweeps at you, and I don't know. I don't. It's kind of like I want to see the scenery that was built, and sometimes it's hard with the glasses. It's like too much at once. I don't think all these rides need 3D like that. I mean, look at Rise of the Resistance in Disney's Hollywood Studios, or at California at Disneyland Park. I feel like that ride offers so much with a cool trackless system, but then you do have an element of screens in there, but there's this element of 3D that already happens naturally that I really enjoy. I hope that's sort of the future that we head to with attractions and things like that. I mean, not to say that there isn't, like I love at Disney California Adventure and the Spider-Man, the Web Slingers attraction, that 3D is fun because it's like a game and you're kind of, or like on Toy Story Mania at Disney's Hollywood Studios. There's like that sort of fun where you're like, whoa, pie in the face. Stuff like that. I don't know. I'll tell you what part made me sick on Remy's though. It was that when the hand, like there's like a part where the chef's hand like comes through the rat hole and it like reaches back. I don't know why that did it to me, but I look forward to riding it and seeing what the new version is like when it opens. I don't know. That's good. I think honestly, I don't think people are really going to notice it. I think it's going to be one of those things where they'll be like, what's the 3D? Down the road or something like that. But staying at Epcot, again, I promise we will move out of this park. But the EPCOT International Festival of the Arts will be returning to, well, the namesake of the festival, Epcot, from January 16th through February 23rd, 2026, bringing color, flavor, and imagination to the park's winter season. I know it's technically still winter at the end of March, but I do think it's weird to sit and think that we begin the year and end the year in the same month. It's just something to mull over. I don't know. But that's neither here nor there. We're just talking about Festival of the Arts. So at Festival of the Arts, guests can enjoy live performances, indulge in artistic dishes designed to look as beautiful as they taste, and explore galleries featuring original Disney artwork. Yeah, you can go through galaxies far, far away at this thing. Actually, there's a lot of really cool Star Wars art that you'll find over there, I'm sure. With its mix of creativity, entertainment, and innovation, the 2026 Epcot International Festival of the Arts promises to be an inspiring start to the new year, inviting guests of all ages to celebrate the beauty and imagination that define the Disney experience. I really enjoy this festival, and I honestly wish it lasted a little bit longer. I like to paint in my free time, or I should say I used to like to paint when I did have free time, but I always enjoy seeing what these like incredibly talented artists create and wondering how they did it. I like when they get creative with the medium, when it's not always like on canvas. Sometimes you'll get people like last year, they were these really incredibly beautiful like side tables and coffee tables that were made out of glass, but then they were like molded scenes from, I feel like there was a scene from like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and there was like a Beauty and the Beast one too. Those are always just like so cool. And then we have the chalk artists, and I love what they do. I can't even like mentally wrap my head around creating stuff in that sort of, with that, medium. And I don't know, it's fun. The park is very colorful. It looks beautiful. I feel like it combines a little bit of the elements. Like I love what it looks like at Flower and Garden, because all the flowers and gardens have been tended to so well. But I feel like it gives that park that pop of color, and I feel like this does that as well. And I don't know, it's fun. I'm one of those people, like, I don't care if there was a festival there all year, I'd be all right with it. When they're not there, it feels like this like element of like, I guess it's just regular now. It adds this extra element of rotation into the event, and I really enjoy it. So we'll see how it goes this year. I'm curious to see, because they haven't announced anything about performers, but a lot of times with this festival, we'll get a lot of the Disney on Broadway performers coming in. So we'll see who we get. Maybe we'll get that Michael Scott again, who played the genie on Broadway, and some others, I'm sure. I feel like Ashley Brown, is that the one who played Mary Poppins? She pops in every now and then. But it should be a lot of fun. I also really like the food at this event. I like the whimsy of the whole thing. Like, I know some people are like, oh, it looks prettier than it tastes, but I feel like I like the deconstructed aspect of a lot of the things, and I'm excited for it. I'm very, very excited. Now, if we want to pop over to Disney Springs, we're going to talk about the Christmas tree stroll, which will be making a return this holiday season. This beloved seasonal tradition adds Christmas around every corner of Disney Springs, with elaborately themed trees placed throughout the shopping, dining, and entertainment district. Walt Disney World has now revealed the full list of tree themes for this year's event, and there's plenty for everyone to love, from Disney's classics to new favorites and theme park attractions. The 2025 lineup features a wide variety of mix of Disney, Pixar, and holiday-themed properties. Each tree is intricately decorated to reflect its theme, often including music, lighting, and even sometimes some Magic Band Plus interactive effects for selective displays. So here is the full list of confirmed trees for this year. We've got Coco, Disney Villains, Encanto, Fantasia, Frozen, Haunted Mansion, and that's going to have a little Magic Band Plus effect with it. Lilo and Stitch, The Lion King, Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, Moana, The Princess and the Frog, Star Wars, and that will have a Magic Band effect. Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas, also with a Magic Band effect, and Toy Story. In addition to those trees, 2 special features will join the lineup: a Disney Cruise Line topiary celebrating Disney's growing fleet of cruise ships, and an annual pass holder exclusive tree enhanced with Magic Band effects. Now, I don't know what you have to do to go see this annual pass holder exclusive tree. Like, is it the one kept behind a gate and you like have to show the pass and they're like, nobody look? I don't. That seems a little weird to me, but it's fine. 3 flagship trees will also honor key locations throughout Disney Springs. We have Town Center, Marketplace, and Orange Node Tree. I'm guessing those are trees and not locations. I feel like it was worded a little weird, or I was just a little unclear on that. Guests can take part in the Christmas tree stroll by picking up a complimentary map. This map shows the location of each theme tree, and participants can match corresponding stickers to each locations as they find them. Once the stroll is complete, the map can be returned to claim a small holiday-themed prize. And you can do that at the following locations. You can turn it in at CityWorks, Eatery, and Poorhouse. And you can get the map at these locations too, Crystal Arts by Arribas Brothers. You've got Javianas, House of Blues, The Lego Store, and The Polite Pig. If you want to do this, it's nothing extra. You just go and do it. I feel like that's something that's really nice. Those trees aren't the only holiday happenings at Disney Springs, though. Beyond the Christmas tree stroll, Disney Springs is going to feature other seasonal experiences, including snowfalls, festive decorations, and meet and greet opportunities with Santa Claus. Keep an eye out for additional holiday offerings to be announced as the season draws near. Like, I'm assuming we're going to get some food and beverage options. Listen, I need the eggnog. I need the cider. I need all these things. I need the peppermint. All that. I do like that they do the snowfall at Disney Springs, and that this is just something, if you go to Disney Springs, you can do. I feel like it's good. It's fun for like locals, or if it's your arrival day, or maybe your departure day, and you're doing a later flight. You didn't want to do a park, but you needed something a little something fun, a little something extra to do. This is a nice time to do it. Plus, you can usually get a couple of maybe a snag a Christmas card photo here or something like that. I don't know. In a little bit of sad news, according to an article on Entertainment Weekly just last week, a guest jumped from the monorail platform at Disney's Contemporary Resort. A representative for the Orange County Sheriff's Office told EW that the deceased guest's cause of death was an apparent suicide. It is very, very sad. I know this is not the first time someone has chosen this resort. I'm sure it won't be the last time. I just want to say, like, if you are struggling, or you know someone who is struggling, I would urge you or them to contact a help hotline, the suicide hotline. All you have to do is dial 988 on your phone, and that will put you in touch with the crisis lifeline. That's why I wanted to bring up this story. I know it's not just this time of year. I know it's any time of year. Sadness can ebb and flow, and it can be really strong for some, and it just, I cannot emphasize, at least speaking from my personal experiences, the world of difference it can make sometimes to just talk to somebody. And maybe it's not for you, but I think if you just do the 988, it really does. I remember, I'm going to be really honest with all of you out here, sorry to do this. I don't mean to bring it down, but this is why this was really important for me. I remember driving to work one day. This is before I started here. I worked at Disney, and I was finishing school, and I was going to work, and it was like my personal life, something was going on with that. Everything just felt like too much, and I don't know why I did it. Like, I just called. I wasn't like calling out or anything. I was halfway to work. I was on the road. I called on my phone, safely. But I called my manager's area, and I remember talking to one of the managers who I was closer to, and I just said, I don't really know how to verbalize this right now, but the long and short of it was I just told them I feel so overwhelmed, and I don't know what to do right now. I'm not saying I'm not trying to come to work. I'm not saying I want to go home. I'm not saying any of this. I was just like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm feeling. Like, I just remember being so confused and it didn't really make sense. And they set me up. They were like, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to, there's like a health services basically it's in the parking lot, the cast parking lot at EPCOT. And I went there and I spoke with a counselor. And I'll tell you, that little bit of interaction really changed my life in that moment. Like it made, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't even know what I was going to say to them. I was just like, it wasn't like, it wasn't, I feel like some people might think it's like a woe is me or it's a sadness thing, but it's something else. And I don't know how to describe it. But having somebody there talking to me, and we just kind of spoke for a little bit and we talked about being present and this sort of thing, it helped me, in that moment. And that gave me this, like, they were basically like a life coach or a counselor. I can't remember the exact word, but it did help. And I have started therapy now in the last year. And I will tell you that has also really helped me. And I know that everybody gets to a point where it's not just people that are in crisis that sometimes need that. And also my experience with therapy, and I'm not trying to lecture any of you, is just that is sometimes therapy, I believe, was explained to me that it's basically you learning new tools about how to move through life. And that can be through emotional situations, any sort of a thing. And I can't tell you how much of a breath of fresh air it can feel sometimes. I feel like a lot of people have a very, like, you sitting on a couch, somebody with a notebook sort of a thing. And it's not always like that. And I don't want people to, I don't want people to think that it's a representation of a low in life, because really it's not. It's a representation of your strength. And, and everybody, broken or not, I feel like could benefit from it, and so that's all my thing. 988, if anybody out there is struggling or anything like that, I would truly, absolutely, if this helps one person out there, I think it was worth having this little bit of a conversation. So I appreciate all of you for bearing with me for that story there. We are going to go move out to sea because I have one more thing to talk about, and that's an update on this story we had talked about earlier. Excuse me. Ooh, caught my breath. It's an update on a story that we talked about earlier this year. So you may or may not recall, but back in June, a 5-year-old girl fell overboard on the Disney Dream and was miraculously rescued and brought back on board safely. The father jumped in after his daughter, and both were rescued from the water by Disney Cruise Line. While the 5-year-old did not sustain any injuries, the father experienced hypothermia and 2 spinal fractures. It was reported the mother was taking photos of her 5-year-old on the deck for the running loop. For one of the poses, the daughter sat on a railing in front of an open porthole, which resulted in her falling backwards 49 feet into the ocean. Miraculous that she was not injured. As a result, the mother was initially charged with child neglect. All charges have since been cleared. In a memo from Melissa Kelly, Assistant State Attorney, she commented on the outcome saying, quote, "While the defendant's conduct is arguably negligent and irresponsible, it does not rise to the egregious level of conduct necessary to establish criminal culpable negligence." And that is a quote from the New York Times. The mother claims she thought the porthole window had a glass barrier and was not actually open to the ocean. She also stated that her daughter had taken swim lessons but could not swim. I don't know what the point of that was. The family has not been identified, and their names have been redacted from a public records request. This was the family's first cruise together and is a stark reminder to take safety seriously while on board any Disney cruise ship. While most overboard cases result in casualties, Disney Cruise Line was able to get both the daughter and her father safely in a rescue boat in under 20 minutes. That is a miracle in and of itself. Some scary stuff, but I am happy to hear that both the father and the child survived from that high of a drop, let alone. It's just crazy. And so, it's just one of those things. It's hard because you want to enjoy yourself, and I know we get the thing, we all get the vacation brain and stuff like that, but it's like things are not, nothing can really ever be accident proof, truly, right? So it's just, being careful. The last thing we want, in life, period, is involving like some sort of major injury, tragedy, or death or anything like that, especially when you're on vacation with your family. I'm sure that father is scarred for life. If the child is going to be, she's got a story to tell for the rest of her life over here. But let me just double check the website, because that could actually be the last story we have for today. That isn't about merchandise. Yeah, I think that's it. I know that's such a short show today, but I guess that's what happens when it's just me. And yeah, I don't want to cut you off just yet. I just want to scroll back here and look here. Okay, yeah, I don't know. There's no more news. Let me actually, you know what? I have one more thing. Let me go through what I always check. I don't know all of you, but I'm one of those people where I go to, you know, that Scott Gustin is just an incredible resource of succinct news deliverance. Also, if you're ever looking for another person to follow as well, my friend Brooke McDonald, she's really, really good about being able to simplify dense information. Sometimes it's still like it's a lot, but she is very, very good at her job. And I feel like, you know, she is one of those people. I love her. She shares what she's interested in. I respect that so much about her. So if you love Star Wars, she's someone to follow, or any of that stuff. She's really good about family-oriented stuff as well, and she does have dietary restrictions, so there's a lot of that there as well too. Let me just double check. I'm going to scroll through here really quick. Oh, I don't know if you heard about this. This was the other thing I remembered I wanted to talk about. Somebody sent me this video. There were Disney drone, like a show is being tested over the Golden Oak Ranch area in Santa Clarita, California. I hope they're not on the Santa Clarita diet, because if you've seen that, it don't end well. But they've been testing, and it was a lot of Aladdin characters, but I guess there was a test maybe last night or the night before where they saw Peter Pan, Moana, Sorcerer Mickey, Ursula, and more. And it looks really cool. Does this mean we're going to get drones in one of the Disney parks here domestically? I'm not sure. I don't think Universal, I mean, they're not doing their, oh my God, I can't remember the name of their nighttime lagoon show right now, because it's Halloween Horror Nights right now. So they don't do the evening show at Universal Studios Florida. However, when they were doing it, it was like the accompaniment to the Mega Movie Parade. But they had drones where they had, like, you know, there was like Jaws, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. They did a really cool thing with the lightning strike for Back to the Future. And I think after drones fell somewhere else, not on Universal, but you remember that story where like a kid got hit with a drone or something? They stopped doing it for a while, and I still don't think they're back in it just yet. So I'm curious if this will finally happen. I love innovative things like this, though. Drone shows blow my mind. I am actually really surprised that there aren't that we aren't getting really. I mean, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. I should finish my thought first. That we're not getting drone shows in relation to like Disney Cruise Line, because you're over the water. So like if anything falls, I mean, it kind of falls in the water, but they can have crews that go and recover or whatever. I don't want them to like pollute or anything like that, but I just feel like safety-wise, it's a little less of a risk out there. However, I guess like the winds play a really big aspect, so it'd probably have to be different types of drones. I don't know all of that stuff. I'm not a smart enough person to really do that, but I think it's cool. I want to see one. I want to see one in real life. I think they did a drone show for the Disney Treasure christening, I thought. I know they do one in Disneyland Paris too, right? Like they did a 25th anniversary one. No, it wasn't Paris, right? It was, one of them did a really cool one, and it was like the Main Street Electrical Parade. I don't know, gang. I am not international, so I don't know. Okay. Let me double check. Apparently on Disney is going to honor back to the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Disney says that there is going to be a 24-hour Disney Celebrates America broadcast over July 4th weekend across Disney Plus, ABC, ESPN, and more. The night will end with special fireworks from both Walt Disney World and Disneyland. I'm sure they'll probably be pre-recorded so that they don't lose them for the thing. Okay, thank you, Diane, in the chat. It was Paris that had that drone show. Let me see. It says online the celebration will culminate on July 4th weekend with a 24-hour multi-platform broadcast. Disney celebrates America, highlighting America's 250th anniversary events nationwide across Disney's linear networks and streaming platforms, including Disney+, Hulu, ABC, ESPN, Freeform, FX, and National Geographic, ending with a special evening fireworks broadcast from Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort. David Muir, anchor and managing editor of World News Tonight with David Muir, is set to lead the day-long coverage, accompanied by ABC News anchors and correspondents, iconic ESPN commentators, and National Geographic explorers reporting from across the country for a once-in-a-lifetime presentation featuring top entertainers, athletes, and historians, all coming together to spotlight the wonder, achievements, and dreams that define the American spirit. I would love if that the celebration doesn't just look backwards, but hopefully we can look forward. I've been known to spiral into pessimism. I feel like I have really bad anxiety. I don't know if you knew this, but I'm trying to turn the narrative to optimism and like unity and like things like in the 60s we had the space race, and I'd love to hear some more things about how do we get up and out. What do we have to look forward to going forward, stuff like that. I feel like that's the Disney way. Or am I just describing Spaceship Earth right now? Maybe. Also, did you hear about this Star Wars movie that had gotten vetoed by Alan Bergman and Bob Iger? Apparently, Adam Driver and Steven Soderbergh had been working to develop a movie called The Hunt for Ben Solo that took place after The Rise of Skywalker. He said, let me see here. I've been reading about this like crazy because I was like, oh, I kind of wish they'd taken a chance for this. Even if it wasn't like a movie theater movie, they could have done it like The Mandalorian and put it on Disney+. I would have watched the heck out of this. It says, Adam Driver says, I was always interested in doing more Star Wars. He'd been talking about doing another one since 2021. Kathleen Kennedy had reached out. He always said, with a great director and a great story, I'd be there in a second. I love the character and I love playing him, referring to Kylo Ren, also known as Ben Solo. Apparently his arc was originally described as being an inverted Darth Vader arc, and that didn't really happen in the new trilogy once it took shape. But Soderbergh and Rebecca Blunt outlined a story that the group then pitched to Kennedy, Lucasfilm Vice President Carrie Beck, and Lucasfilm Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni. They were interested, so the filmmakers then pulled in Scott C. Burns to write a script. Driver calls the result one of the coolest, there was an expletive, scripts I had ever been a part of. They presented it to Lucasfilm. They loved the idea, totally understood the angle and why they were doing it. And then they took it to Bob Iger and Alan Bergman, and they said no, they didn't see how Ben Solo was alive. And that was that. It's too bad. I feel like this is sort of, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like things get leaked to the public and then it happens. It was like so I don't know if you've heard the final season of Stranger Things, the Duffer Brothers who created the show, they really wanted the final episode to be in the movie theater so that like people could watch it together. Also, that show really could be seen on a big screen. It's crazy, but they were like, Netflix didn't want it. They didn't want anything to do with that or whatever, but now they are doing it. They claim that deal was already in the works before this older interview where they said Netflix had said no, but I don't know. I would love to see it in the movie theater, but it also comes out on New Year's Eve, and I don't really trust people to just be like yelling during a movie like that. So it's hard. I'd rent a theater, I think, for that, because I love Stranger Things. It's like my favorite thing ever. Also, my birthday is January 1st, so it feels like the perfect little gift to me. All right, everybody. I think that is going to do it for this episode of the Diz Unlimited podcast. I want to thank everybody for joining in live. If you are one of our Patreon supporters, I'm going to get started with our Patreon post show in probably about 15 minutes or so. So stay tuned for that. If you want to be a part of that, again, that's just $5 a month. Again, you can just do it for 1 month, and you get access to all of our past shows during that time. You can give it a little test for yourselves there. And the further up, there's different things you get with different tiers on that Patreon thing. But I just want to thank everybody for dealing with it. I know it was a lot of my voice today. I actually can't believe we made it as far as we did. But if you are watching this on YouTube, you want to hit that thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to my anxiety. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you click the notify me, the little bell button, you will get notified if this sort of thing ever happens again. You'll get the push notification that says like, oh, the Diz Unlimited went live. So it'll keep you up to date and let you know when we're doing special things like this or whenever we publish any sort of content. So the holiday season is approaching at rapid pace, and we're going to have tons of stuff coming out. We'll be on the Disney Destiny, and there'll be things like my goal would be like every day for something to do with that. Lots of fun stuff in store. I do appreciate all of your continued support. If you're listening to this and you want to rate and review the podcast, wherever you do that, whenever you have the opportunity, that would be a big help. And if you have any ideas for future conversation topics, because I would love to pre-record some actual discussion episodes as well, that we could cater around helping you plan a better vacation, whether it's for like the holidays, the new year, whatever time of year, or you just want to talk Disney stuff. I love chatting Disney stuff. It can be about Star Wars. It can be about Marvel. It can be whatever it wants. Give me the prompt, and let's have that conversation, because I'd also love to throw the credit back to you as well. And we want to make stuff that you want to watch or see. And, whether it's the dining stuff, whether it's the Tap House Talks, whether it's just, shooting the hay in the studio, whatever you want, we're here for you. We like you. And hopefully you like us. But I think that, like I said, is going to do it for this episode. If you want to send us an email with all those topics, that's what I wanted to say. podcast@dizunlimited.com. I'll get those, and I appreciate those. And it might take me a hot second to respond to them, but I will respond to you. I appreciate all of you very much for being here, everything like that. That's going to do it for this episode. Take care, everybody. We will see you next time. And I have to redo this outro for anybody who's watching, and I apologize that I haven't yet. Maybe next week. Probably not. Bye, everyone.